everyone, it's GothamChick, and I am trying to see if this is going to work. It's my first time to try this kind of a setup. I'm going to try to do the cover for my art journal. I have an update that's coming up where I'm saying that, Um, I've decided to do two art journals for this year, one of which will be a look back. So you're looking at the cover of the journal, which will look back to the years that I actually didn't get to do an art journal. And that would be speaking for the years 2021, 22, 23, 24. So I also wanted to try and see if YouTube is going to allow me to go live. I only have 207 subscribers on this channel. Some of you might know that I have another platform, another channel I'm on, which is my main New York channel, and there I have over 10,000 subscribers. Link will be provided in the description if you're interested to subscribe to All Things New York. It's under Pinay New Yorker. So I think I've shown this before. This is an old section I had done for my 2020 art journal. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Was it 2021? No, it was 2020. And I usually do a look back. So for the 2020 art journal, I had done a 2019. I stopped art journaling from around mid 2021, and I've tried to reboot since 2022, 23, and finally I think I'm back. Instead of including the update on my 2024 art journal, I thought I'd just create a separate art journal for the previous years. So this is a layout with dictionary pages. It's made out of upcycled manila folders. As you can see there's a spine here. This was made out of around two. This is the main folder, and I do know that I had pasted, see, flaps, other folders underneath. That is also the reason why this is wider than this. So I have decided this will be the cover of my look back, and the title will be a look back. So I'm going to do this live here. I have my own lettering that I use in my art journal. I'm very writing heavy, not so much on the artwork that other artists show. So I've decided that I'm going to entitle this a look back. So this is a lettering that I have developed in recent years. I don't use pencils, or I don't try to draft it ahead, and I just simply color in the lines after I sketch it. So I'm trying the vertical live setup for YouTube. One thing I realized setting it up was that it would not allow me to zoom in. So the camera stays at the same focus. I might be wrong. It's my first time doing this. So what I've done is I have set up the camera way close to the table I'm working with so that you can see what I'm drawing, which is the point of the live feed. So why a look back? Because literally this will be my pages on the years 2021, 22, and 23. Well, 2022 and 2023 are very eventful years for me because in 2022 I finally got to go back and travel home to Manila. I am Filipina by birth. I have been in New York the last 23 years, and I have tried very hard to make it home every year until the pandemic hit. So before 2019, I was actually there 2018, and I had to wait until the restrictions eased and we were allowed back. And my first trip home was November 2022. So these weekend crafting sessions are something that I'd really like to do, but it's a little tough to schedule when I have plans. So I'm going to make it very spontaneous pop-ups. Like I said, the layout is made up of dictionary pages, which I glued onto the manila folder, and I painted over with leftover watercolor and acrylic paint. The gold is really acrylic paint, craft acrylic paint, nothing fancy. Um, I try to add artistic elements into my pages. I love fold outs. That's something I've always declared. And my previous journals will show that. I am more of a crafter than an artist, so I'm still trying to draw. I'm trying to learn how to draw stuff. Not always successful. I'm going to try to do more collage in this upcoming art journals. I have a thing for paper, so I love thinking up of ways to use and reuse. And when I work with artistic paper, like handmade paper, I try to use every bit of it. I have been in New York 23 years, like I said, but I've always been very crafty. I do a lot of crochet. I also tried to knit, but I can only do basic stitches and I cannot really read patterns. One of the things on my bucket list is to take a formal knitting class. I know everything is online, but one thing I've learned, especially when I learned how to sew, is that you can learn a lot in a classroom, and nothing still beats an actual interaction with an instructor who knows their stuff besides watching videos. Not that I'm putting down videos, I have learned a lot from videos, but I have learned more from actual instruction. So that's something I'm hoping to do, maybe in the summer. There are knitting groups that meet in Bryant Park, which is very close to where I am based in Manhattan when it's a work week. And I'm hoping they can teach me how to do it right. I learned how to knit via the instructions in my encyclopedia set. For those who don't know, that's what we used to consult when we didn't have the internet yet. So using chopsticks, because I had no access to knitting supplies in the Philippines, I learned how to cast and purl. So since then, what I've done in knitting is really just alter the size of the stitches and do fancy yarn. For the most part, I've been successful, kind of. I'm not that crazy about it, but I know I can improve more on the craft. That's why I'm hoping to get formal lessons. Now, as far as lettering is concerned, I have been blessed with good penmanship. So even if I just scribble and do block letters, They are good for journaling. I've always loved to journal. Back in the day and up to now, I have my written journals. I started blogging online when the blogging platforms opened, first at blog.com, and then I am now on WordPress. I try to maintain, so I try to be very forgiving with the art here, so I'm not going to worry about that line that sort of went elsewhere. And I'm doing it again, but so yeah. I tried to do an crafting journal blog, but I do work full time, so my spare time is divided among many pursuits, which I pursue because I think of them as ways to take care of me. I remember I have a friend whose wife is currently suffering from early on stage Alzheimer's, and one of the things that he regrets was that his wife didn't have any hobbies. So when work ended, when she retired, it sort of robbed her of her main purpose, beyond family, of course. And I think it's very important that we nurture ourselves with the crafts we pursue. So I try to make time. I'm trying to be more, um, I'd say, determined or more intentional, I think is the better word, more intentional about it. And last year was a success in other fields, but not quite in crafting. I also want to start creating pieces again. I do have an Etsy shop. It's a GothamChick on Etsy.com. Okay. And the last year or so, I have been focused also on YouTube, which again, I cannot totally focus on because, well, I have a day job and I'm a mother. My son is now 19 years old. And the funny thing is, and I find this amazing, I haven't posted anything in the shop in the last year and a half, I'd say. And yet, early this year, I made 2 sales, which to me was baffling. And I think it was a call from the universe as well, telling me, hey, you have something going here, maybe you should come back. So I do want to start creating pieces for the Etsy shop, and I had vowed to try and do 2 pieces a month. I did zero for the month of January, so I have to come up with 4 before February ends, or come up with the 4 by early March and produce another 2 before the month ends. I think I'm on track for that though. Okay. There you go. So this is my title page. I do want to explain myself in the inner pages. So I will write, I have identified some notebook pages I want to use. I will write on it, embellish, etc. So this is the title page of my look back journal, which will encompass 2021, 2022, and then 2023. So I have a lot of stuff for that section already. I do have to identify the pictures. Let me just check. This is, so my current journal covered up to part of 2021, but I feel a need to come up and pay tribute or try to remember at least 2021. So I created this, and I believe the video is on the channel. If you're interested, you'll find it there. These are, the backgrounds are just craft acrylic paint, and I used Seth Apter spray ink for the lettering. Again, these are upcycled manila folders, which I connect. You can see it there. And then I just paint the background. Okay, so this is supposed to cover, like I said, I love fold-outs. So there you go, 2022. So this is 2021. Let me find, oops, sorry. I think my table edged a little. Let me find my 2022. I can see the 2023, which we can do now. But I want to find I just want to find the 2022 to show to you. You can hear paper rustling. I really, really love paper. So, and then that was 20. I showed you 2021. I already have 22 and 23 covered actually. I don't know where they went though. For some reason, I've been doing a lot of work with a different project, basically for the shop. Okay, found it. That was 2020. When I've written the years on the outer portion because I keep getting lost. And I keep shuffling through sections like I am doing now, which is not really good. But it's part of my artistic process, if there is one. So this one, I still can't find 2022, which I wanted to show you before I went and showed you what I'm trying to do with 2023. Okay, I really can't find it right now, and we are live. So it would be nice if it popped up and showed itself to me, so I can show it to you and I can find it. So anyway, so this part I did for 2023, and the idea is, I believe, okay, it's a fold out section, of course, of 4 sections. I keep pushing and this was entirely done with spray ink. So I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to draw, paste, or do a collage of the year. So this is supposed to be 2023. Again, it's a fold out, so I always create patterns of my lettering. I don't think you can see this very well this way. I'm going to try to show it this way. So if you see 2023 would open this way, and then it needs a bit of repairing, and that. So this is supposed to be the general look back for 2023. So it folds out. It's one entire section. So I haven't made up my mind, like I said. Meanwhile, I've already started 2024, which again, is a fold out. I don't know that it's very visible, but I've done the year in different fonts. So I have 2024, and I did this on mixed media cardstock. But what I wanted to do was to paint the 20 and the 24, the year, in gold, and do ink, crayons, and just plain pencil on the rest of the layout. So again, it folds out. So this will be 0. I do this for the start of the year, just so I sort of give the highlights. So the way I do my journal, I don't go page to page, I go section to section. And sometimes I will have a section dedicated to a certain portion. So for example, this is one section I have existing, and I had created this way back with my first journal. So I have several of these ready. So this one, believe it or not, was a magazine page border that I photocopied, put them on cardstock, and then used to connect two sections of the folders, like right there. And it's holding two distinct sections. This meanwhile is a paper towel that I use to sort of catch the, I'd say, overspray. So I have a ton of these. So whenever I have to work on pages, I would use the same and then just let it build up. And they've proven to be very nice, colorful backgrounds. Sometimes I'll scan. I have used this very rarely in actual art layouts. And one thing that stopped me is the fact that paper towel quality has changed through the years. So for example, this I think was regular Bounty, but and you can see the grooves. And it's very different from the paper towels we get these days. So for example, here's another. But these, I have these older ones, which are just quite a revelation, really. So these are the newer ones. And let me show you the older ones, which show a different absorption and just a different visual quality to it. Let's see. So sometimes I'll scan these and then I use them as background. One thing I haven't tried is to iron over and see if it would change. Now maybe for the newer paper towels, I might have some success with that. So for example, this one shows a lot of wrinkling. And I'm thinking if I iron this, maybe spritz it with some water. I'm just hoping it does not affect the patterns that are already on it. You know, so it really shows a lot of character and a lot of promise. Oh, missed one there. And I still see a couple here. Oh, these are more recent. So I use both Seth Afters and I also use dilutions. Let's see, so there. Nice. So I have this go-to stack every time I need to spray paint, which I also did for a recent project. I'm trying to create some background paper. And so what I would do is I'd spread them around the table and I would go ahead and spray paint. So for example, I just sprayed over some more of this. It's not totally finished. This one is new. So I'm trying to create backgrounds for a certain project for the shop. So they're very, very vivid colors. I like both. They react differently to water. And I do like spray original. You can see a video on the channel dedicated to that. If you have time, do check it out. I don't throw away any of my paper, what do you call this? Paper scraps. They're very important to me. And yes, I am also working, like I said, I have a special project for the shop. And I'm currently working on paper earrings, but doing my own shapes and sizes. So this is one sample. This is a pair I'm calling Her Power, or it's a play on girl power. And it's actually a collage of vintage photos, and these came from the 40s and 50s. So they were printed on photo paper, not through the digital printing services that we see everywhere now. And I'm working to seal them, and I will later create earrings. So they're very lightweight and they're very funky. So I'm kind of proud of that. And then I told you I'm working on another set. That's why I started spraying stuff. It is because, let me just find a piece to show you. I have been working on these earrings. So these are all paper. They're sprayed, so you can't really have the same quality. My mistake was I sprayed these on the wedges or the beads I had created. And that caused me some problems, but I have worked around that. That's why I started creating the background first, which I will glue onto the wedges or the beads later. Let's see. So these are paper projects. Like I said, I have a lot of projects in the pipeline, but this is something I am most excited about, the collage earrings. So very tiny. They didn't print 4x6s like they used to. So these are very tiny faces of women. And I haven't quite decided if I'm going to put them on a stud, have them hang on a hook. There are so many possibilities, and I'm hoping to explore those in the coming weeks. Okay, so there. You can hear my neighbors out there. This is also another design that I'm particularly proud of. I want to call these besties. It's of two girls, which I actually collaged onto, I'd say this is a porch background. So it was a porch like this. But what I did was I superimposed two girls on the palette or on the wedge, on the bead or on the piece, on the earring piece, and I'm still again deciding. So there's a lot that I like about working on with this paper beads. So this is another one. These are actual photographs that I printed color over. So they're photos of two women, and the photos were like, I'd say 2 by 3 inch in size, and there was more background really. So it was like this size. There was more background, and what I did was I painted over, or I printed over, then I pasted them, and again, I'm trying to decide what to do. I do have a finished piece. If you will bear with me, let me just put this down. I'm going to grab one to show you what I'm trying to do. Not really a totally finished piece, but it shows more or less my vision for these paper earrings. Let me just go grab them. They're in the living room. Let me just flip this out. So in my research about paper earrings, I found that a lot of artists would use grommets, which I am also thinking of using, but I am working on putting my own metal eye hook. Again, it involves a process, so that's the only thing that's stopping me right now. This whole thing is actually not like a one-stop cut and paste. It involves several stages of gluing paper together. So this I had done straight onto the earring piece, which again, as I said, I'm correcting. I'm going to do this a different way moving forward. So this would look nice. I don't know that grommets will work because my pieces are a little thick. So if you look, they're around 1 millimeter in thickness, but very, very light, and they're very unique. So they're wearable art. I'm also trying to find the correct sealer to use because I want to be able, although it's very ambitious to try to make them waterproof, I do want to make them water resistant so that I can have more, I'd say, leeway in terms of the pieces. Another subset of these would be rose petals I'm trying to create into dangles. So I love rose petals. I've used them in my art journal. And here you can see I'm trying to create, I don't know how well it will work. I intend to put a border of gold acrylic paint, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have a ton of those pieces. I've also looked at using handmade paper that I have bought, not made. So one example of that is this, which is gorgeous handmade paper I had bought from, this one was from the Philippines. So it's very high in fiber and texture. So this is one of the things that I want to try the grommets on. I can also try to put I'm trying to think how to attach them to an earring. And then, of course, I also intend to finish the side. So this is not going to be raw like this. It's either I put on gold or black edging, which I've had a lot of practice on when I was doing artist trading cards back in the day. So here's another nice piece of handmade paper. Hold on. Just trying to find the other half here. So this is gorgeous multicolor. So here's another. See, there's a lot of texture. And I don't really have to do anything anymore with it. It's a matter of composing it. And deciding whether I'm going to put a stud here. Am I going to use a gemstone? Am I going to use metal beads? So it's a matter of assembling them into something. I see somebody's online. You haven't said hello. Thank you for watching. If you are there, I'm just experimenting with YouTube's new vertical live streaming. This is something I want to do regularly, but I don't know that I can, given that my weekends are usually fully packed. So why am I home this weekend? My right foot is hurting. So I've decided to give it a rest before I do more damage to it. So let me just put this here. And hopefully get to work. So I'm showing you everything on top of a white canvas. I usually work on top of a vinyl piece, which is something I got from the dollar store. It's a roll of the, you know how they have those cling film for windows so that you can put a matte border, or rather a matte cover. I bought a roll of that, and I think it cost me all of $1.99. So I have it here. So it's a whole roll, and it's very helpful. I mean, it will cling to most surfaces, and the good news is it's easy to wipe off, and glue can be peeled off when dried from it. So since I'm a person who does a lot of glue work, that is really helpful. So let me just put this away. I'd like to end the live in a bit, but before I do that, I want to show you what I am trying to do with my art journal based on what I have from the previous one. I have yet to do a proper reveal because I haven't really covered the journal yet, although I know and I have the materials to cover it with. I just haven't gotten down to working on it. Again, more rustling of paper because Dina is looking for the journal. Sometimes it's harder to try and catch up. It was just here. And I even made a mental note. I said, I need to do the color soon. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let me open it to the section. So in my original art journal from, let me just make sure you can see it. This is the 2020. So I did a look back on 2019 because I only had 1 year to look back on. So it was very easy to do. So this is what I did. This is actually pasted, so you can see I had here a good year, same lettering. I do my entries, and then I had this, and I used manila tags for the months. So it's sort of a very abbreviated layout of what my year was. So this was my birthday month. And you can see here, I know I have a lot to be thankful for. So this was more like a gratitude journal. It's about my son who turned 15. He's now 19. So you can see I'm way behind with the memories. And then June, one of my favorite nephews came. I headed home. You can see July. So I was in the Philippines July 2018, and then I had gone to Sydney as well. So this is a picture of my son and I. I'm very proud of these chipboard letters. I want to make a video about this sometime. So there you go. This is our very famous Mayon volcano, which I visited. about my family when I visited my mom's house. Again, dictionary pages. So they're a little wonky to work with because they're very thin. So you have to be careful. I did Sydney again in chips. And then this is our now non-existent subway map. It's very gorgeous. A lot of artists, street artists, used to create art on this and sell. So this is one of the handmade papers that I had bought in the Philippines. This was about Thanksgiving and then December. So I used one of the Christmas cards I managed to give out. And this is multi-page fold out, as you can see, and then there, and even there. So it's the Christmas card with the envelope. There you go. And then, so this is my 2020 art journal. So you can see my year here. So this is what I'm trying to do with the 24. So, and then I started working in sections. So some of these I did as solo sections. This was a Donna Karan perfume ad that I just cut and pasted, and then I worked around it. And I would do pages which are not the same size. So if you can see here, the flowers you see here, that's my mom. The flowers you see here are something I've grown adept at drawing. I will probably make a mini video on it sometime. I haven't done a formal, I'd say, reveal. So this is something else I'm very proud of. It's a 4-section fold out of the letters that make up the word hope. So, and again, it's the icing spray from South After. Okay, so I will leave it at that for now. And just watch out for my art journal reveal vid, which I hope to do in the coming months, so I can share with you all the fun stuff I did with this journal. And in the meantime, I hope I can get this one going and the 2024 journal going as well. Well, thank you for joining me for this live. Watch out for the next one, hopefully next weekend. And keep crafting.